WTIM.
Good morning. You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our WTIM morning show with Pana civic, business, and nonprofit leaders coming to you from our Taylorville studios. The WTIM Pana morning show, it's brought to you by our title sponsor, In People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, as well as Landmark of Taylorville, your Pana Save-A-Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Riding's Pana, the Nokomis Dairy Queen Pana Bowl, and the Okanee Chop Shop. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Our guest in this segment, we're joined by Christy Donsbach, who is Executive Director of College Advancement at Lakeland College. Christy, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well on this end. Glad to have you here to fill us in a little bit on your role with Lakeland College and what you've got down the line here coming up with the foundation and more. But Christy, I'd love to start with just a little bit of background about yourself, how you came to this position, and what you'd be willing to share with our listeners about yourself.
Absolutely. First off, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and talking with you all today. And I would love to share a little bit about my background. I have been in the foundation non-for-profit world for over 20 years. So basically my entire career, I kind of fell into it early on. It's not a career that people really plan to go into. And I was a student caller when I went to school at SIU Carbondale. And from there, and I had accepted a job for a local non-for-profit out of St. Louis at the time, and went on to higher education non-for-profit work. So I then went to SIU Edwardsville and on to Eastern Illinois University, so our neighbor just right down the road from us, and I've worked for a few other non-for-profits as well.
Okay. And so that experience probably invaluable. Funny to hear you say that, it's one of those deals that you probably don't go into college maybe necessarily thinking that's the route you're going to take, but sometimes that's the path that is presented to you. And so now in your role at Lakeland College, how long have you been in said role with Lakeland College, and what is that role?
Yes, I have been here for a little over 6 years, and my current role is the Director of College Advancement. So basically what that means, so it's kind of a fancy title for representing the foundation office. So overseeing anything to do with anybody interested in giving gifts and alumni engagement, partnerships with the college, that type of work.
Okay. Christy, what can you tell us about your day today in terms of, maybe what the foundation is able to do to raise some of those funds?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a variety of activities that we're always focusing on. We do anything from mailed solicitations to a lot of individual giving, which is one of the favorite parts of our jobs, is we really have the opportunity to get to know our community members that are interested in giving back to support the college. So every day is different, which is fun. We get to plan a lot of various activities throughout the year. And like I said, just get to know a lot of our constituents that are interested in partnering with the college.
Sure thing. In terms of the foundation and maybe some of those fundraisers and special events, can you give us maybe any examples of some of those that maybe have been put on this year or some that might even be coming up?
Absolutely. So in the past, our major fundraiser was a golf outing, which we had done for many, many years, and we loved it. We had so much fun, and there was a ton of businesses that supported us. So we thank all of you guys out there that are listening that have participated in the golf outing in the past. And the one thing that as we're, talking with, we have a 19-member board, and we're always trying to think about, how can we grow, how can we improve, how can we expand upon to make it even better in the future. And that led us into really thinking outside the box and talking about something beyond a golf outing. So we love the golf outing. Like I said, it was a ton of fun, but the thing that we felt was really limited was it was a one-day event. So we started, exploring and doing some research and figuring out what we could do to make it kind of a year-round engaging opportunity. So we took that golf outing type of an idea and expanded it to a year-long sponsorship program we now call our Community Partner Program. And we launched that last year with our first year. And the whole idea behind the Community Partner Program is to have a year-long engaging experience and partnering with businesses and other constituents in the area that want to have, a full-on experience that's mutually beneficial for the college and for the business at the same time.
Sure. So it sounds like relatively new, but a new idea that kind of was spurred on by, hey, we could do more almost. And we'd like to kind of extend the calendar from maybe not just the one day to a little bit further. What can you tell me about how it works between not only the college, but also the businesses and how folks actually do get involved and how they do what they do and being involved?
Yeah, great question. So as I shared, it's got kind of a sponsorship mentality. So we have four different levels of sponsors. The base level is called our community partner sponsor. Then it goes on to a bronze, a silver, and a gold. So for each different level, there are various different features that the businesses have an opportunity to participate in throughout the year. So everybody's invited, everybody that's part of this program is invited to a big kickoff breakfast at the beginning. We host it in January, and that's with our president, Dr. Bullock, and campus leadership. And it's really an opportunity, kind of a special opportunity to get to know not only the people at the college, but all the new things and the latest and the greatest what's going on with the college. And from there, the partners are invited to various things throughout the year as well, as far as the career fairs and the job fairs. And we have an awards event that they're invited to. What we're really focusing on, as I shared for that first year, was kind of, setting the base level and as anything new, just making sure everything was working. And what we heard back or feedback from our partners that participated in was they really want more hands-on experience with our students, which was great. So this year number 2, we're excited to make some of those improvements and to make sure that we're having more experiences with the students for our partners that are participating.
Okay. So, and the one nice thing about that too is actually getting that feedback in the first year. So that way you can make, whether that's improvements or just slight changes and things like that. And so glad to hear that you got that in the first year. And now in the second year, being able to implement those seems to be a big deal in that regard. In terms of benefits for the
Absolutely.
businesses, you mentioned being able to stop by for like career fairs and things like that. But how do we expand the hands-on experience that maybe we're looking to do?
Yeah, that is exactly one of the best parts of this program. And so for each business, as everybody has different goals and different needs for that. So that's one thing that we, when we're talking with businesses to see if this is even a good fit, we're asking those questions to them up front. What are their goals for this program? And so even though we have, these very set things that we're saying for each partnership, we're always making sure that we're meeting the needs of the businesses as well. So one of the businesses shared with us that they really wanted to be able to judge student competitions across our different programs. And so that's something that we'll make sure this coming year that they're involved in that.
Okay, so really also personalizing it to each individual business, whether it's you're jumping into the 4 levels, but we're still wanting to provide you with what you are looking for, and that's probably a nice thing for the business too, to be able to sit down and kind of share what they're looking to get out of it too. So it is a win-win. My quick question for you here, Christy, or I guess maybe not quick
Sure.
question, but what about the proceeds that are raised through this? What is it going to support?
Yeah, so that is another wonderful thing. 100% of the funds from this community partner program is going directly back to support students. So this first year, we were able to raise $92,000 that then went back to support 92 students for scholarships and for emergency fund situations throughout the year.
That is a lot of help that has been passed along with that. And that's just the first year's type of numbers right there. Not even.
Absolutely. That was year number 1, and that's almost doubled what we raised from our golf outing. So we were with very minimal expenses is kind of the nice part of that too. So the golf outing, like I said, was so fun, but had a lot of expenses. And so this route, we're able to almost give 100% back to the students.
And
Great.
that is great. And if students are, how does it get kind of disseminated almost? Is there something that like a student needs to come to you and kind of say, hey, I'm interested in a foundation scholarship? Or is that something that they're automatically enrolled for when they're applying for other scholarships? How does that process kind of go?
Sure. So the actual support or the distribution of the funds, those processes were already set. So that's nothing new with the community partner program. We do have scholarship opportunities that all of our Lakeland College students are eligible for. They fill out one form, and our application is actually currently open. So students can fill that out until January 31st. And then the students, based on their answers, and there's a whole review process, that's how they get distributed for that. And the same with our emergency fund. Those are for students that really are in a dire situation that, have looked into other resources and kind of exhausted all of those. And so we do have a application for that as well that they can fill out, and there's a committee that reviews those. So it's kind of on an individual basis for that.
Okay. Just was wondering, and I figured maybe, one application kind of covers the board. I know we're kind of moving towards that, which makes it a lot easier in terms of applying for scholarships than even just a few years ago. But glad to be talking to you about the foundation. We've got more to talk about when we come back. But Christy, we'll take ourselves that 3-minute break. We're joined by Christy Donsbach, who is the Executive Director of College Advancement at Lakeland College. And we're talking about the foundation, their community partnership program that just started last year, year number 2 here in this fall 2025 and spring 2026 year. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
WTIM.
March wheat up 1/4, 5.58 3/4. December bean meal 325.90 down 4.90. December bean oil up 97 cents, 52.11. Livestock trade November feeders 339.40 down 45 cents. December live cattle down to $1.57, 219.70. December lean hogs down 12 cents, 78.45. Energy market December crude oil 59.49 down 42 cents. RFD Radio Network.
If you're like most people, finding extra money for your savings just doesn't happen. This is Leah Steckemeyer at People's Bank and Trust, and we have the solution you've been looking for. Sign up for our Save by Spending Roundup program, and we'll round up your purchases to the next dollar, then transfer that change to your savings account. It's as easy as shop, enjoy, and save. Start saving for the things you really want with our Save by Spending Roundup program. Call 888-PBT-1954 and let us put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The Taylorville Tornadoes are on WTIM. Listen on air or online for all football, boys basketball, and playoff games of both teams on AM, FM, and streamed on the WTIM mobile app. Sponsored by the Taylorville Community Credit Union, the Christian County YMCA, Rural Rentals, and Scooters Coffee.
The purple and gold are coming your way. The Taylorville Tornadoes are going to do it today.
The Lady Tornado basketball team are on 96.5 thechill.com again this season. Listen on air or online for Lady Tornado basketball and playoff games brought to you by the Taylorville Community Credit Union, the Christian County YMCA, Rural Rentals, and Scooters Coffee.
The purple and gold are coming your way. The Taylorville Tornadoes are going to do it today.
The trees are changing as the weather gets cooler. If you're dreading the leaf raking and snow shoveling that comes with this time of year, Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth is your answer if you're 55 and better. Relax and enjoy the changing seasons without all the yard maintenance worries. Plus, it's half the cost of most independent living options. No stairs, no worries. Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth. Independent living done right. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM.
And we're back with the WTIM Pana Morning Show here on your information station and coming to you from our Taylorville studios. The WTIM Pana Morning Show, it's brought to you by our title sponsor in People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with Landmark of Taylorville, your Pana Save-A-Lot, Pizza Man, the Okanee Chop Shop, Noren's Hardware, the Nokomis Dairy Queen, Pana Bowl, and Bob Riding's Pana. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, Christy Donsbach, Executive Director of College Advancement at Lakeland College. And we've been talking about their community partnership program and the foundation, but we'd also like to share with you how successful that first year was. Christy, what can you tell us about how successful it truly was?
Yes, I wanted to share on top of the community partner program that we raised the $92,000 for, which is again just an incredible number for the first year, and we look forward to expanding that for the second year. But overall, how that played into our kind of our financials for the foundation. So we do have a strong endowment. So overall, we've got about $18 million in our foundation endowment. And last year we raised $1.4 million overall in our fiscal year 2025. So we have had about 2,300 individual gifts, which it just goes to show the magnitude of the reach and our supporters. And we're so grateful. So I wanted to just put out a plug and thank you all for that.
Oh, absolutely. Why not? When you consider $1.4 million as of last year, you said about 18 million total. That's got to have you feeling fairly good if you've been holding it down now for 6 years and you just continue to see that number climb. What's that kind of speak to in terms of the support, one, that the foundation is receiving, but also two, what the foundation is doing? Is it maybe a mix of both almost?
It really is. You know, I mentioned earlier that we have a 19-member board, and our board members are just come from a variety of backgrounds, and they do an incredible job leading the foundation and making sure, you know, our reach is not just here in you know our little area and region, but it's going beyond. So our foundation board president, believe it or not, an alum of ours, travels in from California for our three out of the 4 board meetings out of the year.
Holy cow, that's a distance to go.
It is, yeah. It just goes to show, you know, the passion and the support, how great it is here.
My goodness. So 18 million or so right now in the endowment fund, 1.4 million having been raised as of last year. But we were talking the community partnership program, but you've got other events that you wanted to highlight and tell us about. What are some of those?
Yeah, so just this past weekend, I know it's in the past, but I wanted to share that all of our events, how it doesn't have to be focused on the financials. Yes, that is our primary goal, is to support the college and our students. But we also are strong in terms of engagement. So this past Saturday, we had a really fun Pictures with Santa event where we invited in community members to come get their pictures taken with Santa, and had hot cocoa and cookies and just a fun morning with everybody. So that was something new that we did this year and had a lot of fun doing it. And we're also getting ready to wrap up a bourbon raffle. So this is, again, you're hearing this a lot, but the first time that we have done a bourbon raffle. And it's been very successful. So far, we've raised little over $13,000. I myself am not a huge bourbon drinker, but I have learned a lot through this raffle. So it's for an old Van Winkle collection, and there's 6 different bottles, and total there'll be one winner. In total, it's worth over $12,000. So it's a really great, somebody's going to get a really good prize out of the deal.
And hopefully somebody that really likes themselves some bourbon to really sit and appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah. So as I mentioned, we've actually got one more day left. The raffle ends tomorrow evening, right at midnight, and tickets are $100. So it is a little bit steep, but I'm told by many bourbon connoisseurs and lovers that it's actually going to be an amazing prize for whoever wins.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're telling me that it's about a $12,000 value and I might win with $100 being put in, that's not a bad deal. Sounds like you had already made about 13,000 or so in terms of the sales, but I know we'd like to see that number climb even just a little bit here. How do I get involved in said bourbon raffle?
Absolutely. So we have all of the links are on our Facebook, on social media, LinkedIn. So if you follow the Lakeland College Foundation alumni page, you can do that, or you can call us anytime, and we can kind of walk you through the easiest way. So we've got you name what option that you can participate. So we've got kind of a text to donate through that way through your phone, or you can drop off a check. But the phone number, if people are interested in calling to get more information, is 217-234-5363.
5363. Christy, we are about out of time here, but would you say that phone number and the Facebook page are probably some of the best ways of actually keeping up with the foundation?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Facebook page, we're always pushing out content every day. So that would probably be the easiest way. Also, there's our website, which is, if you go to lakelandcollege.edu/foundation is our website as well.
Perfect. Well, Christy, thank you so much for joining us here today on the WTIM Pana Morning Show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Christy Donsbach, Executive Director of College Advancement at Lakeland College, joining us here for the WTIM Pana Morning Show. We'll be back with more in just a little while. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.